What's up, book nerds? My name is Tara, and today I'm going to do a review of a little book called The Bunker Diary by Kevin Brooks. Because this is not a popular book, at least in America, this entire review will be spoiler-free, and even though I know that many of you have not read the book or are not familiar with it, I just really felt compelled to do a review on it because this book completely blindsided me and I needed to talk about it. I'll start by saying why I picked up the book to read, which includes a little bit of a summary of the book. It is about a boy who is stuck in a bunker, and he's writing in a diary. There you go. There's your summary. He's kidnapped and placed down there. There's 5 other rooms, and he realizes he's going to be in this bunker with 5 other people. And the book is the story of their survival in this space, trying to figure out not only why they're there, but how to get out and how to navigate their relationships with each other while they're down there and who this person is that's holding them there. I really like books where there's some sort of entrapment, and it's usually because they're explorations of some sort of psychological experimentation or torture of some variety, but also sometimes just like desert island books or where people are trapped because of a natural disaster. I like those as well, but think about books like Emma Donohue's Room or What I Thought the Maze Runner Was Going to Be, House of Stairs by William Slater, and then movies like Saw and The Cube. These all kind of fit into that category of books I really enjoy and movies that I really enjoy, so I thought that this book would be very similar to those, and it ended up being the case, and I really enjoyed it. I also found out that the book won the Carnegie Medal in the UK, which is awarded for excellence in children's literature, and that winning the award was very controversial because apparently a lot of the book's critics felt that it was not an appropriate book to put into the hands of children. They called it vile and disgusting and despicable, and that, for me, gives it the stamp of approval. So if I had known that ahead of time, it would have encouraged me even more to pick the book up because I love it when people think a book is vile and disgusting. While the review that I'm giving today is spoiler-free, if you are planning to read the book or might read the book, you may want to stop the video here because while I'm not going to give spoilers, it would be really good if you could go into the book blind like I did. The hype machine is a tricky, tricky monster, and some of the things that I say might sort of give away my feelings about the ending, which might affect your anticipation of how things are going to go in the book. So just kind of keep that in mind, but if you're interested in hearing more details, I'll continue on and talk about my feelings and reactions to the book without giving any specific spoilers. So what did I think of the book? I loved this book. It, like I said, it completely blindsided me, and it was such an immersive reading experience. It was one of those books that I picked up and I just couldn't put down. And then when I finished it, I just looked at the book and I just had to leave it on the table and walk away because it affected me so much. The first half of the book was pretty predictable. It was everything you would expect from a we're all trapped in a bunker book. But after the story got rolling a little bit and they were figuring out like who each of the characters were and why they were there and trying to figure out, you know, how they might escape, it started to get really dark at the 50% mark and really at the 70% point, and it really went to places that I wasn't expecting. This ended up being very different for a YA book. It was really dark and really horrifying, and also I was really impressed at the level of depth, even in a relatively short book, like 280 pages, I think my copy was. There was so much character development that you barely know these people, yet they have a lot of shades of morality that are not black or white, good and evil. There's a lot of humanity in the characters, but also a lot of evil lurking within people. It's also worth noting that while all of the characters were multi-dimensional, there was only one character that was actually a young adult. So there's 6 people in the bunker, and our protagonist, the boy who's writing the story, is 16 years old. The other characters are 9, a little 9-year-old girl, and then a bunch of adults. So that's a little bit different for a YA novel too, because it almost read more like an adult novel that happened to have a young adult as the main character. Moreover, there was a lot of really intense religious symbolism, and I was reading for plot on this first read through, but I think this is a rare thing. I might actually read the book again because there's something going on with the religious symbolism. They all have Bibles in their rooms and they're referring to the person that's holding them captive as he with a capital H. And I just feel like there's something there. And my feeling is that it's a critique of religion, but I can't be entirely sure. Finally, there were a few negatives to the story. While I felt that the writing was very good, I also always am critical of young adult novels that use a diary format, because when people are writing in a diary, the authors want to tell a story with dialogue and details that I don't think would be present in the actual writing of a teenager, even if they're trapped in a bunker for days on end. So that part didn't exactly ring true. There were points when it did, because you kind of do like a little descending into the madness part that was done really well. But for the most part, there were way too many details for a teenager to have written all of those facts down. And I also will say, where it does start to get really dark, really around that like 70% point, the story becomes very polarizing. So while I really enjoyed it and love being surprised by books, not everyone felt that way. Some people felt very upset by everything that happened at that point. So it's not a book that's necessarily for everyone. And I would be a little hesitant to put this into the hands of some of the children that I know that I've worked with in the past. Overall, I had a very visceral reaction to the book. I don't usually have intense emotions about books, but with this one, I really did have to set it down when I finished and just walk away and process everything that had happened. So while I enjoyed this book and found it extremely intense, I do say that it may not be something that's for everyone, because not everyone likes books with this level of intensity and unpredictability. But I really enjoyed it. For me, this is the first book in a while that I've given 5 stars to on Goodreads, and so that was good because I've been in a little bit of a pessimistic mood about books lately because they've been 3 and 4 star reads, but definitely a 5-star read because I think it will be one that I remember for years to come and that will show up on best of lists. I always do a top 10 at the end of the year. That's sort of my criteria for 5 stars, and this one had everything I was looking for and more. So 5 out of 5 stars from me, A+. This book was originally published in the UK in 2013, but it has just been released in America, I think on March 1st. So you can pick it up in bookstores, and I do highly recommend it. It hopefully is something that does get a little bit of attention and buzz, because I would like to see what people think about it. So if you're considering reading it, definitely let me know and talk about it in the comments below without giving any spoilers, because we don't want to spoil anybody on the book. As always, book nerds, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. If I were stuck in a bunker for days on end with nothing to do, I don't know what I would do. Like, I don't know that I would keep a diary like this. I think I would use my journal to write a novel, because that's probably the only way that I'd ever be able to actually commit to writing a full novel, is if I had 0 other distractions. Yeah.